I'm Durham Dave. I'm a Newcastle Red Bulls fan and I love pickled eggs.
You're listening to Bears Beyond the Gate, a Bristol Bears podcast made by fans for fans, with three friends who love the club, the game and all things Bears. This week, we pay tribute to the fact that on a cold January night, well, for some of you, the boys finally beat Sale Sharks at home. We always know what we're going to get with Sale, and for the last 3 years we've fallen short, but finally we had a game plan that saw us squeak by. We give our thoughts on this game and then look forward to the renewal of the Champions Cup group games. The lads left for South Africa this morning for an appointment with the Bulls. We discuss how that might go and whether we have the squad depth to realistically fight on two fronts. All this and more. I'm Pete and I'm joined by Lee and Miles for a cheeky beer and a bit of rugby banter. Well, boys, it's nice to see you face to face.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
It is. I'm back. Got back at about midnight last night.
You're looking as fresh as you should be after a trip back from Thailand.
Yeah, I mean, we should say that we're recording this on Monday night. I mean, I was in work at 8 o'clock this morning. I feel fine, to be honest.
You've done well, mate.
You've done well. I'd pull you up with something already, and it's a travesty. None of us have got a beer.
I know.
I did bring my hip flask.
Oh, good.
With a little bit of Jameson's, but you two boys aren't really Irish whiskey drinkers, are you? So
and it doesn't
I'll
feel...
have to drink that for you.
I think I did say a cheeky beer and a bit of rugby banter, but what that is a bit of a lie. I really don't fancy one, to be honest. And Miles came straight from work. I mean,
and I need the whiskey to wake up.
Yeah. So anyway, we're still here. So we're actually at my place. We're not at the Bristol Beer Factory today. We're at my place in our little pod studio. Back to the good old days of when we pile up a load of books on a table. So we've got our recorder just at about the right height. We're all able to lean forward a little bit. It's proper DIY stuff, but hopefully it will record well. So anyway, boys, well, we did have obviously a Zoom pod that Miles successfully uploaded.
Yes.
Yeah.
Semi-successfully recorded. It was
a
few niggles along the way, but it got out.
It did. It got out there, and that was good. And I hope people were happy to get that one because, it is a bit. I have to hold my hands up. It wasn't the best timing when it comes to doing pods to go away for the Christmas holidays, but I thought we did all right to keep it going.
I would say, there was a few of our listeners that actually wrote in and said that they were working and they really appreciated the pod. John Phipps was one. He was in his van waiting for a shop to open, I think it was.
Yeah.
So
good lad.
Yeah. So it was better late than never, and people still appreciated it.
We don't like to disappoint. So even the chap at the game on Friday night sort of said, "You're from the podcast?" And yeah, he said, "I drive in. I've forgotten his name, so apologies. Drive in from Thornbury with my kids." And this is what we love to listen to on a Monday morning.
Brilliant.
So apologies it's a day late. Because it's an inset day today, I think Quid's in. I think you'll be able to listen to tomorrow. So another listener introduced to him.
And more importantly, apologies that you forgot his name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what up, Miles? Anyway,
it's in by then.
So we decided initially we weren't going to do one till next weekend, but then I suddenly thought, we probably could do one tonight.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that, let's be honest, it was a relatively historic win on Friday night. We haven't beaten Sale at home for a long time. And of course, I think it's 3 years, 3 times. We've lost to them 3 times in a row at home. Yeah. And then last year, obviously, there was that chastening 38-0 defeat, the big Christmas fixture, which was pretty depressing. And I think if we went back to listen to last year's pod, we'd probably say that we got completely stifled out of the game, and then Sale just picked us off, their various moments. But it was a different kettle of fish Friday. I mean, I watched it in the middle of the night and then, on and off, and then followed up in the morning. And it wasn't a particularly exciting game.
No.
And I think we have to accept, don't we, that we're not always going to get Quins-like games like we did a few weeks ago. But I think that it was probably as good a victory as we can hope for, given we know exactly what Sale are like when they turn up. So my first question before we get onto that, Miles, to you was when the teams were announced, what were your thoughts, knowing full well that Sale are always a really difficult side?
And dull to play against. Yeah, I mean, the problem is, their pack is always huge and pretty dominant. Any one of the Curry brothers, it's just sublime on any day of the week, and they just cause you trouble. Their jackling skills are fantastic. you put George Ford, I'd hate to say Rafi Quirk was back in, and he's been playing brilliantly recently. Put him and George Ford as halfbacks, and you're probably in a bit of trouble, and then they will just dominate that line and the kicking, which they absolutely did. So
but then Quirk ended up on the wing and was equally as good.
Yeah, and we know that they had Carpenter, Flaherty. They are good backs, and they're really rapid. Add that to the sort of way they play, and I thought this is going to be a tough nut to crack. On the other side, we heard, we didn't know. Boshoff pulled at the last minute, I think, in just a warm-up, and Moroni came in. But looking at that, bar Batley, who we know has got a one-match ban now, that was the best squad we could have picked. Joe Owen came in, I thought,
which we said
he would because of Batley. I don't think there were too many other unexpected changes, and I thought, we'll take it to them, but it's going to be a flipping close game, and lo and behold, it was.
I mean, they were pretty they were pretty fully loaded, weren't they? I mean, I suppose they didn't have Roebuck on the wing, that was one. And, I mean, they had the young lad who only lasted about 30 seconds, didn't he?
Right, yeah.
That's why Rafi Quirk went off. And then, who's the prop, the England prop? You knew it.
Apoko
Fajoli. He wasn't
he wasn't in, and they had some.
James Harper, I think.
Yeah, so they had some Prem debuts on the bench. I guess that's what made the difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some youngsters coming in. They played well, but I think looking at the bench, I think we had a bit more muscle and a bit more experience on the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that James Harper, I think he was tight head, wasn't he? And I think when Ellis Genge saw the team sheet, I think he had a good couple of days to think about how he was going to get on top of that or get under that guy's skin, and he did right from the start. I mean, he kind of gave him a proper lesson in scrummaging and niggle and getting under your skin. I mean, on that note, we should, I suppose, mention straight away. I mean, that's impressive. 3rd man of the match performance in a row. He's kind of gone up a level, it seems.
Hasn't he?
I
don't know what he's been eating since sort of early December, but he's just on another level, isn't he?
I know. One thing I would say about him, on the last man of the match kind of post-match interview, he did sort of name check Ogre a lot and said, Ogre makes me look good because he is a great player and I often run off him. And then this time round, he was also quite humble and said, it's not really about me. It was a massive effort, physical effort from everybody. And I think that's probably really the difference to last year to this year. It was a tight game. We knew it was going to be tight, but we did match up physically. And in the end, they were the ones that couldn't really last the pace because we kind of picked them off with 2 tries in the second half. And so,
I mean, the intensity,
where's that come from?
I mean, to keep that, for Sal to keep that level of intensity up for 80 minutes, I think is impossible.
And I think last year was a freak for them. They managed to do it, didn't they, the whole time?
But they are one of those teams, I think, once they've got you under, they don't let you back up. No. So, I mean, I'm just going to say, I'm going to say it as I see it. Sal Sharks are anti-rugby for me. Now, I know it's horses for courses. I know every team kind of has got their own kind of ethos and the way they play, but all they seem to do is just nullify the opposition. Now, they've got some really good players there, as we've already said, and I think that when we play Sal, it's almost like, I mean, they did their job, but for me, it's not. I've gone pretty harsh on the post column this week. I think they kind of they ruin rugby a little bit for me. I'm going to be honest. It's not rugby that I personally like watching, and if Premiership rugby wants bums on seats, I just hope Sal's not going to be at the forefront of the new adventure.
I mean, looking at the table, they've played 9 and they've only won 3. I mean, they're not having a good season at all, and they're on 19 points. And I mean, Sanderson, I've got a funny relationship with my thoughts on Sanderson, because when he first broke through as a DOR, came from Saracens, I didn't really like him. I thought he was a bit up himself and a little bit I don't know, and just wasn't quite sure about him. And then actually I got a bit of respect for him. I actually quite liked him. And he did quite well, didn't he? He had quite a good start with Sale, and he got them to final, got them to the playoffs. And this season it seems to have, he's struggling, and they have lost some of their big players, haven't they? They've lost the Dupree's brothers, or one was playing, but they lost a bit of their pack. And I do wonder whether it's a big challenge for him because they look realistically like they're going to be out of the playoff place. I mean, you never say never. So yeah, I mean, I just wonder whether they might have to have a rethink, Sale, about their style of play, and because they do have some quite good players. They've got some good backs.
Yeah, I mean, they've got George Ford.
Yeah,
without George Ford and Rafi Quirk, you'd think. I mean, they've with those players, they could play a different way of rugby. That would be a lot more exciting. I know they wanted to come down and kind of nullify what we were doing, and they did to a large degree. So kind of full credit.
I think what's happened, I think apparently they've lost a lot of games quite closely this season. They look a bit like Friday night, just not being able to get out over the edge. I mean, you look at the contrast with last week. I think they put 6 or 7 tries over Queens, but I guess you'd say everyone is at the moment, aren't they? So there is a way. Somehow they're playing what appears to be exciting rugby at home. But you're right, Sanderson, he knew his game plan the minute he saw that fixture, didn't he? And I think he said on TV, we know what Bristol do. We did a job on them last season. And the game plan was almost exactly the same, wasn't it? I was in the stands midway on the Dolman where we sit, and it was just flipping boring to watch. That first 17 minutes, nothing was happening. You could say, well, that's the expertise in their coaching. The line speed of their defence line speed was so quick,
that they were offside,
bordering on offside, that they knew that they were doing the things that they needed to do to get the win. But you're right, I just could not stand watching Sale play, and I wouldn't pay a penny to go and watch him week after week.
I mean, the one thing we have bemoaned in the past is that despite the fact we know exactly what they're going to do, we don't appear to have had any sort of deterrent for it. Yeah. Whereas this year, there was clearly a plan. And from what I could tell, and in my bleary eyes in the middle of the night, was that we went blind an awful lot early on. So we went away from their rush defence, which seemed very clever. And I think, knowing that we had people like Calavetti on the wings and we had Mata sort of off the fringes and Harding, I think we had the personnel to do it. And I know we did a few more kicks. We've always talked about little chips over the top, and there was a bit of that.
Yeah, a lot more.
And then when we did go wide and they did have their rush defence, of course, if you time it and they don't quite get it right and you'll get your passes away, you can actually get a break. And that happened in the first half. I remember Calavetti went down. They rushed out. We managed to get it through the hands quickly, and then he was down the wing and he broke through and nearly scored at the end. So I think it was, whilst it wasn't the greatest spectacle for us, it was quite heartening to see that we had kind of learned something, if I'm allowed to say that.
Do you know the biggest thing for me was that we matched them in physicality, and I didn't know if we're much better this season, granted, but I didn't know if we could actually match them in physicality, and we did right from the off. And that was the most pleasing thing for me, is that we did have a plan B, and the physicality was there as well. And I think ultimately that's what eventually got us the win.
Well, we always say that you win a game in the forwards, really. I mean, they have to at least match the opposition.
Yeah,
and I think we did that in the first half. We started quite well, but we did do those age-old things, coughing it up a bit, turning it over, dropping it, and then they score, and then you suddenly think, it could go again, and then actually in the first half, after their first try, they went 7-0 up, didn't they?
Yeah,
and then George Ford had a drop goal attempt, which 10-0 up it was his worst one ever, wasn't it? It wasn't even like a good strike that drifts by. It was a classic sort of corkscrew one, and it reminded me, I was telling you before we started, I don't know, people out there may remember fantasy football with Badil and Skinner, and apologies to the younger listeners, but they used to have a feature called Pele is shit, where they used to find like clips of him skying the ball and missing it by miles, and that was a bit like that's what I thought when George Ford screwed that drop goal. That was quite lucky. So and then I think
that was just very lucky, wasn't it? I think that would have changed the momentum.
It could have done.
Game, wouldn't it?
As we know, it's all about momentum. 10-0 up, suddenly. Who knows? But I mean, it got me thinking, turning points in the game. And we, early on, actually, and we could say him missing a drop goal was a bit of a turning point. I was going to say, we didn't mention this right at the beginning, but Mata, could have, it was a bit, it was a kick chase. I mean, the guy, he took the guy out, but they were literally on the floor. The poor guy, I mean, he was a young winger. He didn't come back on again, did he? So he was an HIA. Mata, I don't know what you thought at the time, Miles, when it happened, because on the TV I could see it immediately. I thought, I don't really see where Bill got anywhere to go there. I think he's going to be all right.
But equally, you have seen him give one.
But you have seen him give one. And sometimes when you get you get yellow cards when they slow it right down.
Yeah.
And I actually think credit to the ref on that situation and the team that I think they looked at it as a kind of real-time Mata, and they said hit him with a swing arm, but I mean he was there. When you're going to tackle, what are you going to do with your arms? You have to have your arms out, and if the guy goes down, it's like when you try. When some little kid's getting beaten up at school, the only thing they can do is try and wriggle out of it like that on the floor. It was a bit like that,
I did feel sorry for the kid, to be honest. I mean, if you don't want to, if there's one person you don't want to get hit by, it's Big Bill, isn't it? And
often we don't, we can't have it both ways. We sometimes moan that we haven't got a good kick chase, but we either want to have a good kick chase or not.
And it could have been a game changer.
Could have been
only after 1 minute, wasn't it? So I think you're right. I think it was a good decision and a bit of luck involved. But that
I'm sure Big Bill's heart was a little bit in his mouth as we were waiting. And
we should say that talking about George Ford, he did kick to Moroni quite a lot, and I know Moroni did drop one, but generally, I thought he played really well again. I mean,
considering he only came into the 23 because Boshoff pulled out, and then he came on for that HIA. He had most of half the game, didn't he? Because he came on for the HIA, and then scored he's like, how old is he? About 58 now. He keeps and he scored that try in the corner. It was like a rugby league style try.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's a bit like the O'Flaherty try, but he's like 4 times as old, isn't he? I thought it was brilliant, to be honest with you.
I think, that's that signing. We talked about it last pod, didn't we? And that just seems like it's like a cherry on top of the cake signing. At the end of the day, he is an Argentinian journeyman. But you've got to knit your squad together with the right sort of players. And whilst we have someone like Moroni scoring tries, we also, the other end of the spectrum, we had Joe Owen.
Yeah, and perfect timing.
Timing.
Yes.
And actually, I don't know what you think. I mean, Joe Owen is kind of, for various reasons, some of which are very sad, as we know. Joe Owen is kind of coming to the fore as our kind of next big homegrown player. And also Kloska came on, made a big difference. Well, in fact, it was a big Kloska carry before Joe Owen's try. So that was a proper Bristolian try.
Awful no-look pass that nearly scored.
I'd forgotten about that one.
Other than that, I thought
that's what I love about Kloska, though. He's not just beef, though, is he? No. He is beefy, but he will. And actually, Chawatama's got. Often, I noticed it's the last few games, he often does that. He's the first receiver and then doesn't always take it to contact and does that, those forwards who do that sort of no look round the back. Chawatama does quite a lot,
isn't he? I thought. I mean, seeing as we didn't see him at all last season, really, I thought he's got the game time. He's looking actually quite promising.
The only thing that worries me about him is injuries.
Yeah.
Just he could be one of those players just always unlucky, a bit like Laif.
He did go off, didn't he?
He did go off,
then he gingerly sort of, going off, so he might have picked up a little knock.
So just looking at my turning point, so Owen's try, and we that was good. To be 7-0 at half time, I think that was a positive move because I would have thought, they know all the stats, the analysts and the medical guys. I reckon they thought we are going to have the physicality on them in the second half and win this game. And actually, Moroni's try was great. The final try was a classic Bristol try, wasn't it? It was through the phases, offload. Someone made a break. I don't know who it was. Someone made a line break. Then popped to Ogray. Jimmy must have made a line break.
Jimmy.
Popped to Ogray, but Ogray kind of span in the tackle, was able to offload it.
Yeah.
Someone else, probably Bernard, who then gave it to Genji. Slight hint of a forward pass, but they don't give those ones when it's that close. And then there was also a slight hint of Genji then sort of slightly blocking the two defenders as Ravouvou went through on the cut in on the inside. But they were looking tired by then, weren't they?
Well, let's talk about the try in the 56th minute with Moroni.
Oh yeah,
because we got to make a point here. Like Quirk got injured, didn't he, in a collision with Moroni?
Oh, yeah, of course he did.
Yeah. But the thing that I liked about this was going for the juggler.
Yeah.
Because we targeted the area that Quirk was in, or would have been in.
And it wasn't straight away. We went left a little bit and went again. And you could see, I think someone mentioned on the comment, it might have been Jordan that actually called it. Jordan saw it as well. So that's why they then went back. They'd stretched it enough, and they knew that if you'd stretch it, then he was going to be isolated.
Yeah. And I just personally, I loved that because I thought that showed that game management. Like you've got, the opposition, a player down is like somebody who's been playing so well, and then you target that area. It's perfect.
It's basically what like Sale did to us last year.
Exactly.
Clinical.
Yeah, that's why I loved it.
You win the physical battle, and then you go for the jugular.
Yes.
It's really good. The other thing I was going to mention on turning points was. We obviously then won the game with the Ravouvou try at the end. I mean, it was 72 minutes, so it wasn't right at the end, but it was still 10 minutes to go. You must have been thinking, are we going to win Ford have it? Let's not drop it. Let's not let Ford have it. We could lose this game.
Yeah, all of them.
But it kind of came. They got a yellow card. It was their Masai White, and I don't know about you, to me, that looked like quite a soft yellow card to me. I mean, I know we often bemoan the fact that when you're pumping someone's line, if there is any sort of infringement, it is kind of worse than if it's in the middle of the park because, referees will sometimes deem it to be a sort of professional. I mean, he was given it for not rolling away, but I thought he made quite a good effort to get away. And he did look a bit shell-shocked. Then someone else, I think, on Twitter said, but he might have been, but Tom Curry was cheating anyway, so it was the right result, wrong person. But
we've had them against us as well. So I mean, it swings and roundabouts.
And actually, to be fair to the lad, and that's what I do like about rugby, he trotted off without complaining. I mean, you just think that is still a point of difference.
I know, but you're right. You thought at any moment we could win or lose the game, but we didn't make it easy for ourselves because we then overthrew a line out from that penalty. And then at 66 minutes, we then missed our man in a line out again.
Yeah.
I thought, the amount of opportunities we've got to win this game, and we just couldn't put it away until 71 minutes. And even then, it was squeaky bum time.
One of the changing points for me, actually, I've got on my notes was Moroni coming on for Rance. Nothing against Rance, but he's just come back from injury. Yeah. He needs game time, admittedly, but. We seemed much more quick out of, with the ball in hand with Marmion on. And I think at that point, Sal were starting to tire. And he was exactly what we needed at that precise moment in time to get us over the line.
Yeah. So you actually said it was, because some people said that maybe you should have started and Randall should be on the bench.
Well, I thought he would have started.
I thought so. I mean,
but actually, what you're saying is that it worked out quite well that he came on fresh.
Yes.
So maybe there was a bit of genius in that selection because we all just said last week we thought Marmion should start, didn't we? That he'd had his little rest and he's been so good. But fair play, it sort of worked out well.
We said, it's like you said, we've got 2 wins out of 2 against Newcastle now and Sal.
Yeah.
So you can't really complain.
No, not at all. The other thing I was going to mention was. I mean, we've mentioned it with sort of physicality, and obviously Genji had yet another stormer. People saw that. Not just line breaking this time, but he's, a lot of niggle, a lot of cycle, nothing too serious, but just push on the edge a little bit of scrapping with Tom Curry, a bit of like verbals with Cowan Dickey. I mean, he was loving it, wasn't he? And
it was great to watch.
But I genuinely think that also lifts players around him as well, doesn't it? And He is hitting a rich vein of form at the moment, Genji, which hopefully it won't get nullified when he goes off to play for England in the Six Nations, because we will need him like that in the running.
Absolutely.
We've got any chances.
But
a couple of other names to mention based around the physicality. I mean, I think Owen... I mean, we always thought he's a thoroughbred, that he's got a bit of pace, but actually he looks like he's got a bit of grunt as well, which I think is. And I've said this before. I think as a kind of a potential lock or a six, we've got a bit of embarrassment of riches there. But I would like to say, I mean, I think Rubiolo, Santi Grondona, we're talking about seasoned internationals that are used to playing like South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, and go in the distance. And I think Rubiolo is just also, like Genge, is just getting better and better at the job he does.
I'm glad you mentioned him, because he is, again, he's one of the unsung heroes, isn't he? And I think he's the type of player that, you know, he would play game after game, 80 minutes and not think twice about it. And he's been a real addition. I know we're all still sad to lose Dunny, but I have to admit, this guy's come in and you know, he's here now, isn't he? And he is an absolute beast.
And that is, again, I mean, that is perhaps a little bit of a difference. That little strength in depth we've got at second row. I mean, we knew it was a good signing, but when he was signed, but he was injured, wasn't he? And I think it's he's really, really showing his abilities there. And the other one, I just want to mention Fitzharding again. I mean, talking about blokes that just go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Gets up, tackles. Like I've said this before, he makes yards as well. For someone who doesn't look massively big, he kind of almost makes... I mean, him and Mata work quite well together. Mata is the crash ball boy, but Fitz is the kind of elusive... But when you watch him, I mean, gets up and defends, tackles. But he also... You know, he makes a couple of metres, he wriggles around, and I just think he's a brilliant player.
So do I. We can't really say he's underrated now, can we? Because obviously
he's got and he was captain of England. People are starting to recognise his ability, and who knows? I mean, maybe we'll get a wild card call up for England, which I'm not sure we want actually this season. No offence to Fitz. I mean, he said, maybe next year. But. They're talking about this Greg Fissilau, aren't they, at Exeter? And I've seen a few things saying, has he played himself into the Six Nations squad? And I'm like, it's just annoying that they like, just because he has a couple of good games and he's not a captain and he's not but this is the trouble with Fitz. We've said he's not an obvious skill set. He's not an obvious jackler, but he's a bit of everything.
I mean, you could say that about a lot of the English-born Bristol players, can you? Because I think we've all agreed, and it's the formation that we play doesn't really fit into Borthwick's England team. And when we have had players up there, i.e. Rans, he's come back injured on a couple of occasions. So I kind of think, as much as I want these guys to be recognised, I'd like them to be recognised by England in the right kind of in the right way.
Actually, it got me thinking when that game exemplified a couple of things, didn't it? So you get Cowan Dickey, who kind of is almost like seem an obvious pick for Borthwick, but then you've got Ogre, who actually, he has been rock solid pretty much all season, and fast and solid and a good scrummager by looks of things. But he seems, I don't know why, he kind of fell out of favour in that England A.
Didn't he?
And I don't know whether it was injury or not. But if I was looking at the second best hooker, or even, I don't know. I mean, I'm surprised. I wonder whether Ogre might get a little sniff at the Six Nations squad. I mean, I know why Borthwick likes Cowan Dickey, and I quite like Cowan Dickey as well, but he's not always technically the best hooker. And then Jamie George, they seem to kind of keep going on with Jamie George. I don't really understand why. But then there's things like Blamire seems to get in.
Why? They
but then Blamire
minutes, do they, at Sarries, and then
there
they
are some good hookers around. I mean, but Jamie Blamire seems to get the nod above Ogre, and I mean, he's just he's at Leicester. I don't really know what he offers.
Wrong, isn't it?
Yeah. So I wonder. And then the other one was, obviously got Harry Randall and then Rafi Quirk.
Yeah.
And there was something in the rugby paper, wasn't it? Our mate Roddy sent us a little question mark about Rans is saying that he wants to try and get back in the squad.
I did reply to him yesterday.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, Mitchell's first choice, and I think we'd all agree with that.
Yeah, he's playing
Spencer
brilliant.
kind of appears to be back in favour a little bit. So I would have thought if Spencer Bath carry on playing all right, Spencer's probably the second one. So Rans is up for the third spot, and of course he's probably up against Rafi Quirk. I think Van Portfleet seems to have gone out of fashion, hasn't he? And I'm not sure I can think of any other scrum halves really. So it probably is a shootout between Rans and Rafi Quirk for that third spot in the squad, if there is going to be one. And obviously not Gus Waugh, because we now know he's Scottish. But I can't. Actually, am I missing someone obvious? Are we missing a scrum half who's obvious? No, because Will Porter's having a night. He's not having a. Quinn's are not playing well.
No, not the moment.
And Varney Extra's, well, he's Italian Welsh.
Welsh.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Rans, if he has a good European campaign, I expect him to play these games. Says has a good game against Bordeaux, in the shop window. Maybe.
Who knows?
Anything else you want to talk about before I just go on to a couple of listeners about that Sale game? Well, you were there, Mars. It looked bloody cold when I was...
Flipping coldest game of the season. Well, clearly.
What was the atmosphere like?
Mixed, because you're right, for a lot of the game, there wasn't a lot to cheer about. How do you cheer just defence? And there was we were only ahead at one point in the game, weren't we?
Yeah.
At 71 minutes. So until then, yes, you've got to get the Bristoling eventually sort of peeled through, probably just to keep people warm, to be honest with you. Well, it's a crowd, 16,000 or something like that.
It's at 18.
18,000. There was no one in the Lansdowne Upper, no one in the Attio. I mean, people did well to come out, freezing cold environment. We're flat after the game. I think people just wanted to go home, to be honest with you. But, I thought the intent was absolutely phenomenal from Bristol. And you could say it's all the flashiness that we do. That was the bloody best win that we've managed for the season against, a side that nilled us last season. So at the end, we're, cock a hoop.
I'll tell you one person who was warm now, and Mars will tell you this because he's seen him in person. It's the Sale Sharks fan who was wearing a shark outfit.
Fair play.
He must have been boiling.
Nearly at the top of the Dolman Roof. It was so sharp.
Was it a kind of?
It's a great
kind of inflatable.
Oh, was it inflatable plastic?
I don't know. I didn't get that close to him really. Don't go too close to Sharks fans if you can help it.
Yeah,
a couple of quiet ones in front of us.
Yeah,
but I like that. I think that's fair play from the boy to go dressed as a shark.
It was a good crack, and then probably the same. One bar open at the end. Beer factory kiosk closed a bit early, but I think we know why. Our friend Lewis was a bit depressed about Gloucester losing again.
I'm sorry, but I had to mention it on our WhatsApp group because I was so pleased for our Newcastle family that we met the previous week.
We knew that that last week we knew that Newcastle would up for a win soon.
Puts that victory into context a bit. That was a good old victory from us. I think they will win a few more.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean,
I think next season.
They signed someone else. I noticed Tuima or something. Yeah. So they are, and someone said, they're lining up scrum half as well. I read somewhere, but I can't remember who it was.
I read.
Anyway, we'll find out. It's not a Newcastle pod, is it?
No.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. So, okay. We had two inputs from listeners. The first one with the regular from Robin Hamley. Yeah. He had to get prompted a little bit this week, though, didn't he? Because Marcus Watts said, "Why haven't we heard anything from you?" He's like, "Oh,
I did say he's having an afternoon off."
I know.
Or something.
It's like it's like, mate, you've now set the standards. Like Pedro Rubiolo doesn't not bother to go into a ruck, does he?
No,
he gets up and goes into a ruck until the end.
Yeah.
So Robin roused himself. Dusted himself off, and this is an acrostic, as we know, but always a clever acrostic. Mm-hmm. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines long, so it's a word with 6 letters.
Okay.
I'll try my best. Here we go. Northern visitors start our 2026 at the gate. Initial surge from the Sharks. Oh, something we hate. Genji's tussle with Curry. A pure pleasure to see. Getting over the line, however, proved tricky. Lifting tones of Bristol from the Ashton Gate faithful. Eventually, the win came, and for that, we're grateful.
Niggle?
Niggle.
Nick,
nice.
I love it.
Nice.
I love I love contextual acrostic.
Yeah.
And talking about, so well done, Robin. Cheers for that. Another contextual one, and this time slightly the other end of the spectrum. And I'm not being rude, but this is from Rachel Pierce. She doesn't put them on Twitter, so nobody can ever see them. Whereas, sometimes I think we don't need to read them all out because people see them on Twitter.
Yeah, fair enough.
But she emailed and she did it. She'd already marked it herself by calling it pretty rubbish effort. And so I thought, I want to read it out, but it isn't brilliant. But she did say it was not that good. So I'm going to say what the acrostic is. And it's quite clever. It's a play on words. It was January sale. Okay. Which I thought was, and that's quite a lot. I mean, you've set yourself up for a hard job there with a lot of letters in your acrostic. So Rachel did the slightly more basic acrostic.
We obviously know what Rachel was doing in January as well.
Well, exactly. It's like one word for each letter, but it kind of links together. So here we go. You don't have to guess, boys.
Okay.
It's already there. It's January sale, and it goes jubilant and narrow, uplifting game arriving into 2026, revealing yummy rugby. She was struggling with the Y. Yummy rugby against Sale and Lush. Ellis Genge being man of the match. It's they're all good efforts.
It's a pass at GCSE.
I'd say it's a pass.
Yeah,
it may not get you onto A level across stickery, but it's a pass that that gets you into a sixth form generally.
There we are.
So Rachel, but we've got to say we do appreciate it.
We do appreciate it.
And she appreciates. She always emails us and gives us a lot of support. And we love the fact that she just she said, "Oh, no, I know it's right, but I still gave it a go." And that's what it's about.
Well, that's it. I mean, she took the time to make the effort to do it.
Yeah, we appreciate that. So thank you, Rachel. Appreciate that. So boys, let's move on quickly. We've obviously now done our little block of, I think it was, since the Autumn Internationals, we had 4. We're unbeaten in 6 if you add the 2 European games, but probably more importantly, unbeaten in 4 with the Prem. We now got our little hiatus for 2 more European games before we got Exeter Chiefs at home before the Six Nations, which is going to be a really tough game. Really tough game.
Worse than that, Pete, it's away.
It's away as well. and plans are afoot. The flag is now getting so used to go. Oh, by the way, the flag was in Thailand.
Needs washing, doesn't it?
Well, the flag was basically it's been in my suitcase virtually the whole time, but it did come out once on Christmas Day.
Because of humidity, it probably needs a good launder, doesn't it?
And the flag's like he wants to go. He wants to go away games. I say we've got to try and get the opportunity.
He came back for some decent beer, didn't he?
He did.
That sort of
Chang stuff.
Thai nonsense.
Although the only blooming decent pint of ale I had in Thailand cost me nearly £7. It was in Chiang Mai, and it was a craft ale brewery, but it was you have to pay
Sucking
Stones Brewery, which Miles made quite an amusing but rude comment about. He thought that might have been something else in Thailand going on. And I said, that's not my sort of thing. I'm not retired yet. Anyway.
It's always got to be Miles.
Sometimes he comes out with it, and it's quite shocking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. We are playing the Vodacomm Bulls. I know for a fact that the boys flew out today. We don't know who flew out because, but they did fly out. And one of the reasons I do wonder why they flew out early for a Saturday game was A, they want to acclimatise.
Yeah.
B, they want a bit of time on the beach. Because they've had a hard... Can you imagine? I mean, I've just come back from Sun, back to Bristol. They've had the misery of Bristol going to Sun. So, it's a great thing to do. But also, having listened to them all, the one that Max Laheef's on, the podcast a few weeks ago, Fitz and BV were on it. And apparently Pat had said, and it was obviously recorded before the Newcastle game. It was recorded after the Saints game, but before the Newcastle game, and apparently Pat had said if they win the Newcastle game, they're allowed to go to BV's ranch in South Africa for a bit of R&R. Nice. So I wonder whether they're going to do a training session in his farm. Pat's already planned it all out. He's got the layout of the farm.
Literally just running after Springbok.
Well, they're going to be like. They're going to be like.
I think we're a professional rugby outfit.
Hey, I don't think so. I reckon. We're going to find out
chasing
afterwards.
Down animals in just speedos. I mean,
exactly.
Dan Thomas isn't around in the squad anymore.
But they've got form for this. Do you remember that pre-season when they went swimming at the Downs school?
Yeah.
Speedos. They got form for using the environment around them. So
maybe you're right.
Just a watering hole.
They're going to be chasing gazelles through the savannah. Anyway, so what we're going to say? Well, we're 2 from 2. We're actually in a strong position.
Yeah,
It's just the first time for a while, and we've got 2 from 2. Saints have got 2 from 2. Bordeaux got 2 from 2, and then the other 3 have all got 0 from 0. So Bulls. I mean, I had a quick look on the URC website. They're only 11th in the URC. They've played 8, lost 5, and then played 2, lost 2, and they lost 33-46 to Bordeaux at home. Now, I know there's no shame in losing to Bordeaux, but they were at home in altitude. Yeah. And then they got hammered 55 by Saints at Franklin's Gardens. Now, my understanding is the South African teams don't really care that much about
I think that's a fair assessment.
The Champions Cup. So I think that we've got a good chance. And if we can nail another victory, be 3 from 4 is going to get us either in the carry on in the Champions Cup in the round of 32 and you know, we might get a fun away game in April.
Well, that's what we're desperate
that's all
for, isn't it? That's all we want.
I mean, we don't want to win it, do we? We just want to have a fun away game somewhere. Yeah. But obviously, on the other hand, if we lose to Bulls, we then got a difficult game against Bordeaux. And I mean, although we're playing well, and by the way, Fortress Ashton Gate, I mean, it is
4 from 4, isn't it?
Well, this season.
Yes, well, and also we should say, I mean, obviously Bordeaux have got Saints, haven't they?
Yeah.
So if they win that game, then they, as Miles said before we started recording, they might not send a full strength side to Ashton Gate. So there's still a lot of variables within those 2 games.
I'm pretty sure that we're going to. I think we're going to go for it.
Confident.
We have got obviously the biggest travel out of Bordeaux, etc. And there's only a week's turnaround, isn't there? I mean, that's pretty tall order, isn't it? You know, they're going to be playing on Saturday. I know there's no time difference.
Can we just say something, right?
Yeah.
I was in Phuket Airport at 5 o'clock yesterday morning with a 7-hour time difference.
Okay.
2 flights.
Did you play an 80-minute rugby match?
I got up this morning, went to
training?
Work. These boys, they've got no time difference.
You've been on a beach for how many weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks on the beach.
So Bristol, their boys are going to go out there. They're going to be in like they've got no time zone. They've got a 13-hour flight, but they'll probably, you know, nice little luxury. They have a little snooze on the plane.
Yeah, they're going to be eating some
I think they're going to be. I think this narrative, difficult. They're going to get a bit of tanning time. They'll be ready for Bordeaux.
I know this is a bit tongue in cheek, but I think that they won't be jollying around for some reason. I think they'll be out there, and I think Pat would be kicking some ass out there on the training ground.
But what I'm saying is, let's not feel sorry for them for the journey.
Of course not.
I just say there might be mitigation, you know, against in a week's time about being some tired bodies and minds.
A couple of things. I wanted to. The other bit of research I did on Bulls is who plays for them. I had a quick look on their website, and a few names popped up. Akker van der Merwe, used to play for Sale, like the Warthog sort of guy. Kanan Moody, who's played for Springboks. Andrew Pollard, I've forgotten that's where he went. Actually, I don't mind that because he's not necessarily that good.
Did he
Pollard.
get from Leicester?
Yeah, a little bit hot and cold, but when he was on fire, he was worse.
But I mean, I think he's a bit like Finn Russell. You can kind of feel if you get on top of him, he's going to make mistakes. Yeah. There was Janis Kirsten, you may remember, big ginger-haired guy who played at Chiefs. Curtly Aronza, so he's a good player. Wilco Lowe, who's Villy LaRue, but I don't know whether he plays anymore. There was that guy Hannacum that played last year when they beat us at home. He was quite good. And then there's Nicholas Yancey van Rensburg. Now,
relation?
Well, I do wonder. I mean, to me, that seems like they must be related. Like who? But then I reckon Yancey van Rensburg is like being
could
called
be like a Jenkins or a Davis in Wales, or
Bernie Smith, or so I'm not sure they are related. But if anyone does know,
let us know.
Matt Croot's probably going to know.
Yeah,
so if he could let us know.
Yes.
And then, best of all, I looked on their website and they've got a player called Stee. STI, first name Stee, and his second name is Sithole. Steve Sittle.
Steve Shittle.
Yeah. I mean, if he has a good game, he's known as Steve Sitoli.
Yeah.
And the lads have agreed that if he has a bad game, he's Steve Shithole. You let us down there, boy. Sorry for the younger
Let's hope he's a
listeners.
shithole.
So I'm really
hoping,
hoping, just for amusement, that Sitoli is going to be playing. I don't know what he does, whether he's an academy, but he was on their website. So quick one, thoughts, Miles?
Well, so the game is what 1:00 UK time this Saturday.
Yeah.
So it's on
Premier
Sports.
Sports. Get down to Masonic to watch it.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Get down for a pint of. It's not Guinness, is it? Murphy's. Pint of Murphy's Stout down the Masonic or the Coopers.
What sort of team are we going to put out?
Go for it.
I think go for it.
There might have been a few niggles from the game on Friday, but we've got to go for it. If we can get the win away, then it just puts us in a massive advantage.
We have got we've got 2 games Europe. We've got Saints. Then we've got a big rest for the Six Nations.
So
if people do get injured again, we've got time to get back. So I think we keep the momentum going. What about you, Lee? Yeah, good.
Totally agree. I mean, it was obviously, as Miles said, a couple of niggles. Lovejoy, Chawatama, possibly Lewis Rees-Zamit. We will go on to mention contract. So they're possible doubts, aren't they? But yeah, I totally agree with you boys.
Back.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, we'll have Bats back, and then and then I think we'll probably have Pedro will be playing. And then Joe Owen, I'd keep it.
Joe
6.
Owen, maybe 6. Santi might be on the bench and come on, or even Joe Owen.
Because Boshoff, he pulled out last.
I think it was an illness.
Yeah,
it's a bug.
It was a couple of players, I think.
Yeah, I think there was some hint about a bug.
I reckon, he's earned his place in that squad, doesn't he? I reckon I'd start him. He'll be gunning for it, right?
And if he started and Rees-Zammit's is ill, then you've got Heward can go fullback.
Yeah.
And he looked, and I think even with a kind of few tweaks, we're still going to be quite strong. So,
I guess what we don't know, because we don't watch the URC, is what style of play the Bulls sort of go with. Really, I've no idea. I mean, God forbid, it can't be anything worse than that Sale game, can it? Maybe it'll be a bit more looser, and we can play our game. Maybe lovely temperature, won't it?
I think one thing we will all agree on is that it would be quite a hostile atmosphere because the South Africans love their rugby, don't they? And I think that they'll be behind their team. So I mean, but like we've heard from Dunny and Claremont, it can raise us as equally as it can them. So
we'll see, and hopefully we'll get a win. And if we get a win, then we can think about the next one. So you kind of raised it. I only had one AOB, and that was New Year's Day. We had a little cheeky surprise on New Year's Day. Lewis Rees-Zamit re-signed, as I think I did say on the pod, that would be actually worth signing. And I still, despite the fact that there could be an argument that he's a slight luxury signing, I still think I've seen enough good, particularly his physicality, that he seems to have. I think he's got more physical. He's becoming a bit of a carrier as well as a runner, as it were. I think that's money well invested, but I just think he's got that ability to change a game.
Totally agree. But one thing I will say is I do worry about injuries and whether we'll get our value for money in game time. And I mean, I hope we will, but time will tell, I guess. Yeah. I mean, we don't want to be paying top dollar for someone that we're not going to see very often on a rugby field. I don't know what you think, Miles.
If he's fit if we're in the run-in and he is fit, I mean, he'll probably go off and play for Wales. That's the only thing in the situations.
Yeah.
But if he is fit and firing, I just think he's the sort of player we'll need in that last run-in towards the thing. And the fullback thing seems to be working quite well. I mean, I think, to be fair to him, I heard through the grapevine that he might have had that little bug as well.
Right.
So maybe we have to give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
But that he did, because I heard that he did pass his HIA, didn't he?
Yeah.
But then didn't come back on.
Wow.
Which maybe that's the beauty of a squad depth, when you've signed Moroni on a rest of the season and you think, well, let's get the boy on. Moroni was champing at the bit.
But then if that was the case, for me, he shouldn't have started.
No,
I wasn't feeling 100%. Shouldn't have been on the pitch.
Yeah, I think it's quite an exciting signing. I mean, despite that game at Sale, you know, no one was breaking their line, was there? And he was running at his pace. But you're right, he's got some bulk to him. He tried his hardest to break the line, and against other teams that are not defensively so tight, I think he'll get a lot of tries.
And you know another reason why I think he might play against Bulls? He wants to top his tan up, doesn't he?
Ooh.
Those thighs.
Yeah, but then
Wants
wouldn't he
to
want
brown
to
up
be
his
on the
thighs.
bench then, or on the beach?
He could top his on the bench. He could have his tight shorts on to
true.
get those thighs because he does strike. He has got Gavin Henson tendencies, hasn't he, Lewis Rees-Zamit?
Yeah.
And I imagine he's suddenly feeling a lot better. He's on Pat's door saying, "Yeah, I'm fine now, Pat." And actually, Pat, have you got any sun oil?
It's a bit hot in South Africa.
Yeah,
I'll be right.
And
I'll chance it.
He's got the Bears speedos packed in already.
That just reminds me of something. Let me just check my text a minute because I got
From Rees-Zamit.
I got a text from Ryan Keyshaw who said, and I've got to mention this actually because I think it's got some merit to it. Moroni reminds me of a classy Henry Purdy.
Oh yes, yes. I got that as well, and I forgot about that. Brilliant shout.
That is a good shout, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Moroni is. He's also we mentioned his signing the one before. Yeah, I think he does a Henry Purdy sort of short, but kind of fast. Yeah.
Stocky.
Yeah, like a. Because you remember Purdy when he played one game, he literally took 4 players with him, didn't he?
Well, I think that's a positive way to finish, boys.
Absolutely.
So, it just makes you think. I wonder what Henry Purdy's doing now. I assume he's retired, or is he playing in the lower leagues? Need to find out.
It was bad enough.
Someone let us know.
But we I don't know if we still mention the fact that. We did. Yeah, don't worry. Scrap that.
All
it's
done.
quite late at night.
All
now.
done. I think
Quite
we're
late.
getting to it. I'm actually starting to feel a bit
Pete
tired.
wishes he was still back in Thailand for another big holiday.
Anyway, right, boys, it's good. Well done for coming round.
Staying awake.
We've managed to get through that. Bit rough and ready, but they always are. That's why we like it.
Yeah.
It's not overproduced. I mean, I think overproduced podcasts are not podcasts, are they? They're radio programs.
Exactly.
Podcasts are supposed to be conversations.
When's the next one?
Next one, we'll talk about doing one next Sunday.
Yeah.
So we'll do one after the Bulls.
We'll be back at the.
Got to get back in the rhythm. It's like we've got to get game fit again because
we need some beers.
Have some decent beer, aren't you? So we've got to top him up.
So we've definitely just for that reason only. I want to get back to the beer factory
You'll have
next
to
weekend.
put up with Murphy's Stout on Saturday, and then some decent beer factory beer on Sunday evening, hopefully. Yeah.
All right then. Well, let's knock it on the head, boys. So thanks everyone. Have a great week. Stay safe and
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year and
Up the Bears.